And when you were a little kid, it was really easy. You would just literally say, as a little kid, you'd go 8 divided by 3, and if it came out to a nice whole number, you'd be like, yay, it's a factor. And if you got something that was messy and didn't go in nicely, you'd be like, boo, it's not a factor. So you would say on this one, 3 is not a factor. If I would say, is 4 a factor, you'd go 8 divided by 4, you get 2, and it's a nice whole number with no remainder. That's what's important here. You'd say it's a factor, right? So today we're going to be doing a lot of stuff, and the key is going to be, is there going to be remainders, is there not going to be remainders? So the first thing that we need to remind ourselves how to do is how to divide polynomials. And dividing polynomials was a pain in the ass, right? It was this long division, and it was scary, and we didn't like it. But there was a shortcut, and we loved it. Here it is, our friend, synthetic division. Yeah? So I'm going to remind you how to do it, and then you're going to be like, oh my God, I totally remember how to do it. And we're going to super, super love it. So a couple things that we got to know when we synthetically divide. I said this in zero period, and they said I was being racist, and I am not being racist here. I taught in a multicultural school, and in Latin American countries, they actually do all of their dividing this way. So I had a lot of kids from, who came from Mexico City, and we refer to it, there was American division, and there was Mexican division, and people were like, you can't say Mexican division. I'm like, but this is what they taught in Mexico, so I don't think that was a racist thing to say. But it's not bad. This is not, I'm not making this stuff up. It's real, and in other countries, they do all their division this way. But here's what you got to know, a couple things. First thing is this, when we're going to do synthetic division, I need you to notice that your polynomial needs to be in this very specific format. It needs to be in complete descending order, and that's a really important word here. Complete means this, x to the third, x to the second, x to the first, and then finally no x at all, because we're going to have some problems that are going to be missing some of those x's, and we're going to put those holes in, right? So here's why. In real life, those x's are not that important. They just kind of follow along the whole way. So we're going to ignore the stuff that we don't really need to worry about. What we're going to worry about is the coefficients, the yellow numbers, because they're the things that really drive this train. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to steal out the important numbers. And you guys right around now should be thinking, oh yeah, I remember this, right? Now, in real life, when we divide, if I say 3 goes into 17, here's what I do. I say, how many times does 3 go into 17? I say it goes in there 5 times, and I do that. I make 15, and then I subtract, right? Subtracting is a pain in the ass. We all hate subtraction. So when synthetic division, what we are going to do is this. We're going to say, what if instead of subtracting every step, what if we took this guy and did the opposite, which is like subtract, and do it right in the beginning, and then we don't have to subtract at all. And that's what we do, right? So we're going to take this x minus 2, but remember, we're not going to worry about the x because we got rid of all the x's, and we're going to take that negative 2, but we're going to make it positive. And that allows us not to have any subtraction for the rest of the whole problem. Are you guys cool with that? Remember this, dude? So here's the process if you don't remember. Yes? I'm so confused. Where did the 2 come from? You take the negative 2. But where did the 2 start? Where did it come from? So it says this divided by x minus 2. Sorry. I just ran out of space. Okay, so here's what. Our process is going to be multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, add. I love those because I love those 2 operations. I love multiplying. I love adding. Yay. But here's the key. To start off, you drag this guy down. This is the thing that kills everybody, right? So we don't start off by going 2 times 3 and rolling. We drag that guy down, and then we start our process. Multiply. Put your answer down, add them up. multiply, add them up. And here's what I mean by that. I'm going to multiply. 2 times 3 is 6. He goes here, and I add them up. Add them up, I get 1. And I do it again. Multiply. Put my answer here. Add them up. Multiply. Add them up. So easy. So easy. We love that. We love that. Let me get rid of all this so it's not confusing. Now we need to write our answer because that is not really our answer. Our answer says, because here's what we're doing. What we're doing is taking this guy and just like Jordan asked me, we're dividing it by this guy. So we're going to be taking an X out of everyone, right? This dude right here is coming out of everybody. So when I get my answer, it's going to have an X gone from there. So it's going to be X to the, not third anymore, X to the second. Beautiful. And it's not going to be X to the second here. Now it's down to X to the first. And this was X to the first, and now it's gone. It's just got no X's at all. So here's what I've got. I've got 3X to the second plus 1X to the first plus 0 if I want it. I don't even have to do it. But then I got that weird random ass 6. What the hell is he? He's the remainder, right? So when we were in 5th grade, and sometimes even in Algebra 2 and Algebra 2 Trig, we used to do this. That always made us happy. But now it's pre-calc, right? So what pre-calc says, hey, let's write this as a fraction. Just like that. Yep, because it's positive. If it happened a -6, we do minus.
So when we're doing division with a 2, so it's -2, so you're not taking account for the negative in front of x minus 2. So we'll put 2 down. Oh,
so this guy, we're gonna take the opposite of -2 to put it in. Yes, we do. Perfect. Yes.
So if the 6 was negative, would that cancel out the -2?
No, if the 6 was negative, you know what we'd do? We'd say, so I'm going to get rid of that stupid 0, right? Boom.
Oh, and then follow-up, are there, like, last year trade, there were, like, types of problems for synthetic division work? Are we going to do those?
So here's what, on those problems, synthetic division is really a tool, right? Like, yeah, you can do long division to actually, you know, do an ugly problem. But to use it as a factoring technique, synthetic division is all you need, right? So we often taught like, oh, there are some times where it doesn't work, but then it's not a good tool to use for factoring, right? So it's kind of like the quadratic formula. It's like, well, is that a good tool to use to make the parentheses? No, it's a nightmare tool to use the parentheses. So it's a tool, we just don't use it for this. Good question. Okay, you guys ready to try one on your own? Okay, here we go. One of my sweet little lambs. Oh my God. Here we go. There it is. Give it a shot. He looks scary and long, but he's not. I can just look at muscle and just without even thinking. Nothing. You use -10, beautiful. And you know what that does? That means I don't have to subtract every step. I could use +10, that means every time I have to multiply and subtract. And you know what? Oh, I hate subtracting. So, you know what? If I change it in the beginning, I don't have to change it the rest of the way. While you're doing that, I am actually going to take attendance. I'm going to be taking attendance.
Yeah,
You didn't like it? Are you doing it?
I'm doing it.
After lunch or in the afternoon. And I think it's still Alan. Justin and Jackson. I don't know what Jackson is. He's not sure. No, he wasn't. Huh? No, Jackson was here.
He left.
Oh, did he? Yeah. We're missing Rachel today. And you guys take it after lunch? Yeah. Because I noticed you want to. And we're missing, I'm not mad at it. It's silly. I don't know why I left it. It just took you off. I gave you in the math. I don't know why. I know, but you're in here. I feel like I was talking to someone and you were talking about me. You know, we don't know if you say it in the real life. I don't know. Okay, how'd we do? Hey, did you get 0 as your remainder? Yeah? So let's take a look at it. I am going to go ahead. Ooh, I think I have to annotate. It's so exciting. I can't believe the annotation shows up. So here we go. We're going to go ahead. I'm going to do that -10. I like that because that takes care of all my subtracting the whole way through. So I've got my big little box here. 9, 100, 92, -79, and 10. Nice and easy. It doesn't even scare me. Just remember to drop that guy down. So I'm going to get -90. I'm going to get 10, -100, -8, +80. I'm going to get 1. I'm going to get -10, 0. Nice and careful here. Nice and careful. So here's what we do. We drop down 1. So b to the 3rd plus 10b squared minus 8b plus 1. And guess what? No remainder. It is a factor. If you get no remainder, it's a factor. Yay us. Okay. Stepping up our game here a little bit. I'm going to close that out. Here's what we want. Which one do we want to do? I think it's this one. Okay. Let's do this one. Sorry about the weird divided by. Jordan, that was for you. I know. Here's what. This one has, Tim, a hole in it. I need you to take a look at this. It's supposed to go 4, 3, 2, 1, nothing. I've got 4. I've got 2. I've got 1. I've got nothing, but I'm missing the 3. Does anyone remember what the hell we do when that happens? 0, x to the 3rd. Sure, we're going to put it right up in there, right? So when I write it out, I got to remember to make it 2, 0, -3, 1, and 2. We're going to watch for those holes, right? 2, 0. Because here's what, if you forget that thing, it gives you a whole long answer. Yes,
You know what time the PSAT starts?
you look it up when I'm done. Yeah. I feel like it's like noon. Oh, no, it's got, you gotta have lunch. I think it's right up. I think it's only 2 hours.
What the kids do?
Is it 2 or 3? I have it. Yeah. At 11:30.
They started at 7.
So where do you get to eat lunch? Oh, that sucks. So eat really big after this. I'll maybe let you guys go a few minutes early so you don't have to shower. Okay. Here we go. Bring down my 2. 2 and -1 is -2. Bring down my -2. I'm at 2. Am I doing this right? Have I made a mistake? Please don't let me. Am I okay? Okay. Yeah, I'm okay. I love when there's no remainder. That makes me so happy. So x to the 3rd minus 2x squared minus 1x plus 2. Yay! Yay! I'm going to skip that one. Here's the only thing I want to say. We're not going to do this problem because I want to pick up my pace a little bit. But I need you to, because it's pre-calc, Liam, here's what I need you to do. I need you to recognize, not to me, that sometimes problems look scary that aren't scary. This would be the directions. And a lot of you who are going to take a placement test in the spring and the summer for college are going to look at this and think, what the hell are they even asking? You know what they're doing? They're saying, take this, which is this guy, and divide it by that guy. Right? It's easy. I just don't want you to freak out by the directions. Okay. Next thing we're doing. Sometimes it's even easier than you think it is. Now we're gonna do this problem right here 2 different ways. And it was funny because I was talking with another pre-calc teacher where I thought the same place, and I said, oh, I always do these by synthetic division, and she says, I do this another way that I think is easier. I'm going to show you both. You are going to get to pick. I'm going to tell you, me, synthetic division makes me happy. So here's all I want. I don't care about the answer. I care about the ending. If it's got a number ending, it's not a factor. The answer is no. And if it's got a 0 at the end, you make a little happy face. The answer is yes. So right now, is that dude a factor? Yes or no? Figure it out. Watch for a hole. And I was like, oh, damn it.
Oh, yes, sir.
Watch for a hole.
So maybe 0.
Here's what I remember. If I get a happy face at the end, then it's a factor. See? Did you get 0? Yeah, we all good? It's a factor. So here's what's nice on the quiz. This is just yes or no, right? It's just 50-50 shot at getting this one right. Now I'm going to show you another way to do this. Are you guys ready? So I need you to go ahead and put your pencils down and just watch me for a minute. Mrs. Dill, who is probably the smartest math teacher here on campus, she not only has I think a master's degree in math, she actually also has her law degree. She's a lawyer also, and I don't know if you knew that. And she was in the military. She's a lieutenant, so she's crazy, crazy smart. I think she finds it fulfilling, right? But like she's got her like she has a law degree and a master's in math. She's wicked smart.
I'll play this
Like, there's literally nothing she doesn't know. So here's what. I will never argue with Mrs. Dill about math, but on this one I might argue with her. She thinks there's an easier way to do this. And what she says is this. We know, hey guys, if you guys want to just go, you can, but I don't want to have to keep stopping you every few minutes to be quiet. So if you guys want to go to the library and just watch the video on your own, you can, but just don't make my job a little hard. Okay. So here's what she says. She says, we know from factoring that what this says is that if you take the answer out of this and you get 1, you should be able to plug 1 into this thing and get 0, right? And she says, if you take that number and you flip it and you plug it in, if you get an answer that is 0, it's a factor. And if you get any other answer, it's not. She thinks that plugging in is easier than synthetic division. And on this problem, I think she's right. Because let's watch me do it. You don't have to do it. I am literally just going to put a 1 into this guy, a 1 into this guy, a 1 into this guy, and a 1 into this guy. And it's super easy. Watch me real quick. 2 times 1 is 2. 5 times 1 is -5. Plus 1 plus 8 minus 6. I'm just going to do the math, right? So that's going to be -3 plus 1 plus 8. That's going to be 9, right? And take away 6. Look, I got 0. It's a factor. Now, I agree with her. When it's a number like 1 or 2, it's really easy to do. And I think you can just plug it in and you can do it. And you don't have to do any, like, oh, is there a 0? I don't have to do any kind of gypsy magic. It's nice and easy. But here's where I have an issue. If I have to do this guy into this guy, I think plugging in the number 8 would be a kind of a pain in the ass, right? It's not the end of the world, but I don't know what 8 times 8 times 8 is. And I certainly don't know what 64 times negative 7 is. Like, if you got a calculator, it's pretty easy. But for me, doing this bad boy with synthetic division would be a lot easier for me to do. I could do it pretty quickly. So I see people writing it down. You don't have to do this problem. What I'm letting you know is both ways work. If you want to plug it in and see if you get 0, that's awesome. Here's what you got to remember, though. You got to do that flip thing either way, either for synthetic division or plugging it in. You do you. So you've got like 4 problems tonight that say, is it a factor? And if you want to do it the Miss Dill way by plugging it in, right on you. If you want to do it the Mrs. Tarantino way, because I love synthetic division, right on you. Is that cool with everybody? Okay, we got one last problem, and it's weird, but it shows up on SATs and it shows up on stupid placement exams. So let's do it, and then we're going to put this baby to bed. Are you ready? We're going to rock and roll with this last one. Okay, so here's what. The last thing we're going to do is it's going to ask this problem. I'm going to give you a minute to write this down because it's a very specific kind of problem. This is right out of your pre-calc book, and it shows a very complicated way of doing this with synthetic division, and I hate it. So I am going to show you a shortcut. That's not too bad. But can the oldest person at each table group either pull out a calculator if they have one, or go get a calculator for their table group, because we're going to do a little bit of calculator work, just a tiny bit. You're not good at it.
Yep. Bye. I know I mean, but no. I either.
So Liam, I'm about to start talking again, so we're going to stop whatever we're doing, right? Okay, so here we go. The deal is this. I could do this with synthetic division, but it's really hard. So I'm going to do it with the plugging in way, and it's actually really easy, but it's a little bit of a pain in the butt. So here's what the problem is asking. It wants to know what magic number there would make this guy work, would make at the very end, if you did this with synthetic division, if you had a 2 out there and you went blah, 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 you would get 0, right? And that is one way to do it, is to try to do it backwards. But there is an easier way to do it. Now, remember what we're doing. We're forcing this guy to work. That's our job. And in order to work, I see your hand, I'm going to talk to you in a second. What we're going to do is make this guy equal 0. We're going to force him to equal 0, because that's what he's asking you to do, is how can I make this guy work? How can I make him work? So I'm going to make him equal 0. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in the stupid 2, and I'm going to figure it out how it works. And it's really actually pretty easy math. It's just kind of longish, right? But it's not scary. Are you ready? Jordan, did you need to ask me something?
Oh, I was just gonna say.
You know where
I know the X is 2.
That's exactly it. There you go. Jordan is a step ahead of me, man. So here's what I know. Just like she said, wait a second. If I know that X has to be 2 to make this work, let's just shove that guy in there, right? So nice and easy. What we're going to do, I'm going to show all the steps, but some of you are going to be able to skip a bunch of steps. So I'm going to say 2 times. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to do those all at the end in another pretty color, because it's going to make me happy in a second. Okay, I'm just doing this so it looks pretty. Remember, I got the K right there. And I am going to plug in the 2. The 2 is going to go here, and here, and here, and here. Will you have to do this much work? No, I just want it to look super beautiful for you. So I'm going to start from the back, and I'm going to make my life easy. I'm going to say, hey, 7, yay, yay for you, 7. I got 7. Hey, what's 5 times 2? Negative 10. Thank you so much. On this guy, 2 times 2 is 4, so I'm going to rewrite him as 4K. Is everybody cool with that? Okay. How about the next guy? Let's take a look at him. What's 2 times 2 times 2? 8, and 8 times negative 3 is negative 24, sure. And how about 2 times 2 times 2 times 2? 16, and 16 times 2 is 32. There we go. So here's what I'm going to ask. I am going to make my friend Tim use my calculator. Are you ready? I'm going to say some numbers and you're going to push them in. So Tim, what I'd like you to do is I want to clean up everything that doesn't have a K. It's a pain in the ass. So hit 32 for me. Subtract 24 for me. Subtract 10 for me. Add 7 for me. 5. So do you agree that at this point, my friend Tim has 4K plus 5 equals 0? Yeah? Is everybody okay with that? I'm going to actually change that to blue so it's prettier. So guess what? Why? You know how to finish that problem. Move the 5 over, divide by 4. Because he just added, yeah. Because, was it supposed to be negative? No, because I made a mistake. Someone, please. Okay, I'll do it over here. Why did that disappear? I don't know. What the hell happened? So guess what? K has to be negative 5 over 4, which would have been a nightmare to come up with synthetic division. No one wants fractions, but this way, it's not bad, right? You got 2 of these to try tonight. They look scary, but they're not. They're really easy. I'm going to leave it. So I am done. I'm giving you your homework. I am not checking anything out until tomorrow because my juniors are gone, and then we'll check out 2. I see you, Jace. Give me just a second.